bitch, you a bird, you thigh, you learn, you see, I earn, you stop. A word, I shoot, no rim, I'm high, you burn, I'm me, that's him, you nah, that's word.
What's up, fight fans? My name is Anik Subramanian. I am a journalist for the Scrap News. On March 30th at UFC Atlantic City, Connor Matthews will enter enemy territory to fight Long Island's Dennis Bazooka. Today, I'm here with the former Air Force combat controller himself, the king of Massachusetts, Connor Matthews. Connor,
How you
first
doing,
of
man?
all, how you doing? How's training
Doing
camp
great.
been?
Doing great, man. Training camps, we're in full swing now. We're about 10 weeks out, I think. So, full swing. The team's getting together. We got a lot of big fights on the horizon for the New England Cartel. We got Calvin Cater's getting in there with Aljo. A lot of the up and comers have a lot of big fights coming up. So, training camp's going great.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of good energy with everyone training for fights, along with Angel Pacheco, who will also be on the card.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's freezing in Massachusetts. Do you do anything different to recover in the winter versus summer?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm a big ice bath guy. So it's actually better for the winter for me because I can just, hop in the ice bath outside. I don't have to worry about cooling it down. My issue in the summer is you can never get the ice baths cold enough, and no matter how much ice I put in there. So, yeah, I wake up in the morning, break the ice off the ice bath, hop in there, and then, yeah, so that actually kind of works out better for me. And the winter sucks up here, obviously, it would be nice to get some nice sunlight and everything, but, it keeps you kind of focused, keeps you in the gym, less distractions getting out, going to the beach and all that. So it's kind of a good thing at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's grind time right now. So you're
Yeah.
fighting another humble guy in Dennis Bazooka. This fight is literally the Red Sox versus the Yankees. Since signing this fight contract, have you heard any jokes about the Yankees, Red Sox, Boston versus New York related to your fight?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of people mention that, Boston versus New York. So, yeah, it's cool. It's a good, healthy, rivalry. So I'm excited to get down there and show them what's up, show them how Boston is. Show these Yankee guys what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be wearing my Yankee jersey to the
Oh
fights.
no.
Nothing but respect though. So what is your relationship with Boston sports? Like, what are your favorite teams and how's that been throughout your life?
So obviously, I grew up in like the Tom Brady era. So it's been nothing but championships for me really since I was a kid. So we always had the Bruins. I was a hockey player growing up, so I'm really big into hockey. So we have Jacob Lacko, who plays for the Boston Bruins. He came and practice with the Cartel. So that's pretty cool. So we got to go and go to a game and watch him. He got in a fight out there for us, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, so I've always loved all Boston sports growing up. It's we always kind of say Boston New England Cartel is like Boston's fifth team, it's that fifth team of UFC fighters. So yeah, I love the support, and sports of Boston has been huge my whole life. So I'm hoping my goal is to get up there and become one of the big names in Boston, and hopefully try to bring a title back here.
Absolutely, man. I'm rooting for you guys. Like, you guys have a great gym. Some of the nicest people just by hearing their media interviews and stuff. Now, if you do win on March 30th, do you plan on hitting the Atlantic City casinos with your boy Dana White?
If Dana White wanted me to go to the casinos, I'd be with them in a second. But I'm not a big gambler myself, so
Yeah.
I'll probably get my win and go back to the Airbnb and celebrate with my friends and my family. You always act like I always do this like for like, oh yeah, we're gonna win my fight, knock this kid out, and then we're gonna go party and celebrate. And then usually every single time I get done with my fight, I'm like, dude, I just want to go home. I'm
Yeah.
exhausted. I'm gonna go chill, give myself a week off, and then I'll go hang out with my buddies and go have a good time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a grueling sport. So I'm gonna go back to your roots here. You've done martial arts all your life, but you jumped into mixed martial arts in high school to channel your teenage aggression, which you wrote on your website. Where did
Yeah.
that aggression come from, and was there anything specific that caused these emotions?
Nothing really too specific. It's just, general high school kid emotions, I guess. You know what I mean? I was just, kid full of testosterone, I guess. So I was, I played sports and, girlfriends, all that. Probably girlfriend broke up with me, got angry, went to the gym, but it was nothing really too serious. I had a really good, life and upbringing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to act like I was, I had a hard growing up. I just, always chased challenges my whole life, no matter what it was. And I was just kind of if I was trying to play in the NHL was my original goal, or playing extreme sports and seeing how far I can take things. I just kind of always take things over the top, and that's why I got into the military. I didn't just go into the normal military. I went into special operations in the military. I always just wanted to try to take things and be the best at whatever I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you did channel any emotions you had, you did channel it in the right way, like you said. Now, in your time as combat controller, it's one of the toughest jobs in the world. Could you explain like what exactly you did for people who may not know?
So, job of combat controllers, we have many different jobs, but it's essentially what we do. We're the guys on special operations teams, like either a SEAL team or Army Special Forces that calls in an airstrike. So we attach to the team. We're directly on the team. So people kind of get confused, like, oh, well, you're attached, like we're kicking in doors. We're doing clearing rooms. We're doing all that shit. But our main job on the team is like the radio guy. So anything we need to do to say we need to do a resupply from like a helicopter, that's my job to call in and land an HLZ, or if we need to call in an airstrike, because my job is to call in the airstrike. If we need to talk to the drones that are flying above the battleground, I'm the guy to talk to the drones. So basically anything to facilitate the air to ground interface, that's what the Air Force combat controllers do. We're certified air traffic controllers. So if you go to like a tower at a normal like terminal airport, we're up in the tower, those guys are air traffic controllers. That's part of our job as well. So we can land airplanes essentially anywhere. And so it's really cool because you get to do all the training like a SEAL does. I go through dive school, I go through Halo, which is high altitude high opening, where you skydive out of planes. I get pretty hard training, survival school. So when we weren't out doing missions and stuff, we're back stateside, you basically just go from school to school to school, training, learning all these different variety of skills. And it was a really cool career to be a part of. And I had a good time.
Yeah, you did 6 honorable years there. And after that, I read that you started teaching weekly jujitsu classes to veterans. I heard that you also like teaching police officers how to
Yep.
deal with things in a nonviolent way. Was there any like event or something that inspired you to like help police officers improve in that way?
Mostly from like there's a lot of stuff going on in the news and everything, but that wasn't really it. Mine was like when I grew up in between Massachusetts and Newport, Rhode Island, and I've seen a lot of times where I've seen cops like get into fights and like beat up people on the streets where it didn't necessarily need to be beat up. You know what I mean? Just throwing punches, and I feel like anybody who trains, like, you kind of learn how to control yourself. You don't have to prove yourself. And for me, I never have the urge to go out there and get in a fight with somebody on the streets because I know what I can do. I feel like, a lot of people who don't know what they can do, they want to go test themselves in some sort of way, or, and find out that the cops were doing that and, beating the shit out of people when they don't need to beat the shit out of. So I think just like the more martial arts, the less you want to use it. And I think that's good for everybody. And not to be mentioned, if they do get themselves in a dangerous situation with a guy with, it's better than no martial arts, to protect themselves. And there's obviously that a part of it as well. You know what I mean? I feel like you could, the more the more you could safely take threats away without actually, people getting seriously hurt.
100%, man. And you know what's interesting? I got to interview former UFC bantamweight Jimmy Rivera. He recently became a police officer and he started his own program called Guardian Law Enforcement Defensive Tactics, and it basically teaches police officers like nonviolent ways to like deal with people resisting. So he's from New Jersey, so maybe after your fight week, you both can chop it up. You can appear as a guest because he's a really good dude, and that would be awesome to see.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions related to the military. I know you did experience some mental challenges and trauma from it. Another person who uses MMA to deal with trauma is the UFC's biggest rising star right now, Sean Strickland. His story is a little bit different, coming from childhood trauma. What do you feel when you're training, and can you relate to Sean in the way where like your demons go away when you do train?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just the absolute focus it takes, to be when you get locked in the ring or somebody, or just in training in general. It's like, you can't really worry about anything else besides what you need to do in that job. So it kind of, it gives your brain, if you have any kind of stress in the outside life, it gives your brain just like a little rest and break in that time to, train. And never mind just chasing the goals, you know what I mean? I think, just it keeps your overall life healthy and focused on achieving something. And and I feel like if I don't have that, I feel kind of lost. So like, yeah, I guess like when I came back from Afghanistan, I don't know if it was mostly PTSD from combat, but I think it was mostly a lot of it is I lost a couple of my really good friends. They were combat controllers as well. So I think me losing them was kind of really messed with my head. So I did what I always did. Like I said, when I was a kid, I had a girlfriend broke up with me, got in a fight or whatever, or something was challenging me in my life. I just go back to the gym and started training. So that's what I did when I came back from Afghanistan. And, this kind of flourished into what I'm doing right now. I didn't really expect, to get out of the Air Force and make it to the UFC. And initially, at least, when I first started fighting, I was like, I just want to take a couple fights, just, get my mind off stuff, give me something to focus on. And then it kind of just flourished into, making it to the UFC. So it's been kind of awesome, been a great ride. And my goal is just to kind of take that and, help out any other people that are like me, who need an outlet or who served in the military. And, I feel like this is a great way for me to give back to people because, what martial arts has done to me, I'd love to give back to other people.
100%. It shows like how your character has evolved through the years. One fun military question now. What's it going to take for the UFC to get some custom fight shorts for the veterans?
I would love that, man. We keep making that joke about like Bryce Mitchell gets to wear camouflage shorts, and he's not in the military. I always say the military members should be able to wear the ones wearing the camo shorts. So, you know what? I think that we're gonna try to push that hard for me. See what I can do to get some military colored shorts because I think I deserve it. I know right now the UFC, the Air Force is reaching out to me right now about everything I'm doing. So maybe we can make something happen.
I would love that, man. There was rumors about getting custom fight shorts for the Matt Frivola Benoit Saint Denis fight because they're both ex-military. So I would love if that can happen in 2024. That would be a huge thing for the UFC and also just honoring the fighters because your hardest fight is not in the octagon. It's what you've done in the past. Now, getting into your team, you train at New England Cartel with
Yep.
Coach Tyson Chartier, top fighters like Calvin Cater, Rob Font, also Angel Pacheco on this card. I want to
Yep.
know what's the funniest story you have to tell me about these guys.
Funniest story. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Tyson is always saying something, or something crazy that Tyson will just like say stuff off the cuff that you probably shouldn't say a lot. And we're always looking. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if you're allowed to say that, Tyson, but I can't think of anything specific off the cuff right now. Exactly. I have nothing off the top of my head, but I'd love to come back to that one because yeah, I mean Tyson's always just doing something crazy and just ridiculous. So he's a funny guy.
You know what? I'm gonna throw that question at the end about Tyson.
Uh,
Uh, okay, so along with that, where you're at right now, this is your parents' basement. How
yes.
does that go with your parents? Like, do they sometimes ask funny questions about what's going on in the basement as you train fighters here?
Yeah, no, they're pretty aware of what's going on in the basement. So the way we ended up here is I was actually renting from a different spot, and after COVID, they ended up closing down. So I was kind of screwed. I was like, I had no place to put my mats. I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. So my parents were like, hey, you can put the mats in the basement for a little while, and just like until you find a new spot, and then you go. But so we put it down here, and kind of we liked it. I liked it better because it's my own spot. I don't have I don't have to share with anybody. We got the cage to fit down here. We got a waiting room. We got some weights. We got an echo bike. So it's just kind of developed into a better spot. Obviously, I don't have to worry about paying rent. So they know what's going on down here, but they support me. It's not like I'm not doing nothing with it. I'm trying to. I have a good steady group of guys that come in here and I train weekly, and then on the weekends it's just open mat, and I have all veterans come down for free, and we just roll, and we're doing good stuff with it. We're not just wasting it. I do feel bad though because they wanted to have like a bar and my dad's man cave down here and stuff, and I kind of just took it over, but you know.
Nah, shout out to the parents. We love supportive parents. That's and you're doing something good with it. So hey, you can turn it into a man cave for a little bit if you win this fight. So yeah, no, I want to know, do you have any rising prospects in this gym that you want to shout out that we can all look out for in the near future?
Yeah, two guys two professionals right now that are coming up as Joe Poirier and Andrew Valdina. So Joe Poirier, I believe, is 4-1, and that was all last year. He had 4-1, 5 fights last year. He had mostly, I think, first round finishes, and then he had one fight that didn't go his way. Valdina is, I believe, 3-0 right now. He's another pro coming up. So we call Joe Poirier, we call him the biggest flyweight in the world. He's like 5'9". He's actually taller than I am. He's a 125, so he's pretty big. He's a big guy. Then we have Andrew Valdina. He's a really skilled college wrestler. Great kickboxing as well. So yeah, those are my 2 pros coming up. And then underneath that, we have like a whole bunch of like younger guys who are kind of just getting their feet wet, amateurs. One kid is a kid, Jude. He hasn't had his first fight. He's going to come pretty soon, probably this summer. We got this kid, Drew Arpin. He's another kid that's coming up. So we just got a lot of young talented coming up. And then we have the pros, those 3 pros.
Very nice. Very nice. I'm looking forward to hearing more about them, watching them, seeing the fight results. I'm going to jump into some rapid fire now. Quick questions before I come back to this Tyson Chartier question.
Yeah.
You're a featherweight, Volkanovski or Topuria at UFC 298?
I think Volkanovski.
That's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. Only thing that worries me is the Volkanovski getting knocked out. But I still think, he jumped up a weight class for that. I still think he's really, really good, and he has a lot of experience. And I think he's going to come out with a win on that. Especially, man, he beat Max Holloway. Let's not forget about that. You know what I mean? I think that striking is, the best striker. Max is one of the best strikers ever to do it. So I know Topuria is pretty good too. He's really good striking as well. But I think he's just experience-wise, Volkanovski has had more time fighting higher level guys than Topuria, that's going to help him get the victory.
I hear you. Greatest Boston sports moment for you?
Greatest Boston sports moment, I would have to say is when the interception with who was it? And for the Patriots against Seahawks. I was in Seattle. It was when I was in the military, so I was living in Seattle. So it's Patriots versus Seahawks, and then they got that interception to win it in overtime. That was the they were so mad. It was great to be in enemy territory. I used to like Seahawks before I moved there, and then I lived in Washington, and I just could not stand Seahawks fans. So when they won that game, that was awesome. I remember I walked outside and did some snow angels in the snow. It was great.
So believe it or not, I'm a diehard Yankees fan, Nets fan. I'm actually a Seahawks fan, and this was in 8th grade, and I talked so much smack from the year before when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I convinced my dad to make sure I didn't go to school that next day. So, yeah, hey, I'm happy for you, but, I'm going to be salty about that forever.
Yeah. Well, I have family members that were out there too. So like my aunts and my uncles, and so they are all big Seahawks fans. So when that happened, I was just like, oh, that was good. They used to talk so much shit. So yeah, that was the biggest one.
I get it. Maybe we deserved it, but shifting to a more positive topic. All right, dream fight in MMA.
My dream fight in MMA. I think Bryce Mitchell would be a good fight for me. I think I could beat him. He's got a lot of hype, and I feel like that would be a good fight for me. Not that I have anything wrong. I actually met Bryce Mitchell, and I like Bryce Mitchell. I just think that'd be a good fight for me to take that. But my dream fight, though, overall, I would love to do Connor versus Connor. I mean, that'd be someday. That'd be awesome. He's 170. He's not ever coming back down to 45. So yeah. I'd probably have to do a lot of steroids and juice back up to his size. But maybe down the road that could happen.
Hey, why not? That would definitely make New England Cartel the 5th Boston sports team. Now,
yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm gonna jump back into this funniest Tyson Chartier moment. Or anyone from your team.
Can't think of anything off the top of my hand, to be honest. Oh, I got one. So Tyson Chartier, this last fight. Sorry, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that last fight, Tyson Chartier. So Tom Pags, one of our teammates, he's upcoming pro from Cartel. He was fighting, and in between the rounds, we're coming to the cage, we sit down, and right before the fight start, Tyson goes to sit down, and some reason Jake, my other coach, takes the chair out and pulls it to like he was gonna have somebody else sit in the chair. So Tyson goes to sit down, falls down, just yard sales right in the middle in front of it. It's hilarious. So yeah, that was a pretty good moment.
Too funny, man.
We're all supposed to be all super professional. Tyson just falls on his ass. It's pretty funny.
Hey, maybe it's important to stay loose in those moments, especially in a tense fight. So, last message. What message do you have for the people that have had your back throughout, and any sponsors you want to shout out?
First of all, a big shout out to my military supporters. It's been basically all the military in general right now has been really hopping behind me and giving me a ton of support. So that's like, you know, my biggest support. I mean, I've had like a lot of followers, and it's not followers local from my area. It's usually followers from across the country from the military that follow me. So that's really cool to see. So shout out to everybody in the military who supports me, and just in the military in general. And also shout out sponsor wise, I don't have too many sponsors right now, to be honest. So I need those sponsors. So people hit me up for some sponsors right now. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Mom's Basement. Shout out to England Cartel.
I got you, man. Connor, it was an honor to interview you. Thank you so much for speaking with me. Stay tuned. Connor's coming to the Garden State. I can't wait.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, brother.
You're the only guy that had killer instinct and went out there and acted like he wanted to fucking win, in my opinion. Okay?